Hi, my name is Dr. Eydie Ellis. I'm a professor of clinical ophthalmology at the University of Pennsylvania at the Shea Eye Institute, and I'm the director of the glaucoma service. So people always ask me, what motivates me, because they see how busy I am every day, and particularly the patients, always ask that question. And the first thing is the love of ophthalmology. I love taking care of patients. Being able to address what their concerns are and try my best to offer them an intervention that works for them. As a glaucoma specialist, many of my patients are of African descent, and since glaucoma is the #1 cause of preventable blindness, in our race, it really, I take sort of a very special responsibility for that in terms of preventing vision loss. I think it's great if we can motivate young people to go into STEM, which, as you know, is science, technology, engineering, and math, by really showing them how many opportunities there are and the broad career pathways that are available within those fields. And also to really show them they can make a difference in their communities, in their professions, by looking at those career pathways. So I think exposure really, if you can even expose children when they're in lower school. Really just look at these kids from the time they're in kindergarten upwards and how science is a part of their daily lives and how interesting it is, and then to really build that interest as they move up along their educational journey. You have to really capture them and let them know that there's excitement there before other professions that may not be able to guarantee that they can get a job in the future, kind of makes them think that they can sort of do those things and have a successful career. I guess I've had opportunities beyond my clinical practice in working with various organizations, the American Academy of Ophthalmology, the National Medical Association, the Joint Commission on Allied Health Personnel and Ophthalmology, really looking among all the organizations that support medicine, medical practice, and becoming involved in other activities gives me a much better feeling for the different opportunities and needs in medicine beyond being in your exam room with your patient, and how doing these other things actually can help you better deliver care in a more efficient way, and try to make sure that there are resources available that patients need in order to better treat their disease. I think mentorship is a very important thing for people at any level in their career. When I first started out in ophthalmology, the things that concerned me the most were, really, how to find a job, how to know whether something is a good fit for you or not. And then once you get that first job, you want people to be there that will support you in terms of being there for you to ask questions, to back you up if you have difficult situations with patients, but also people that can give you advice about the challenges and opportunities with each step along the way. I've been in academic medicine my entire career, and mentorship is particularly important in terms of being able to navigate the promotions process within a university, because there are different landmarks that have to be reached, otherwise you don't get promoted. And if you don't have solid mentorship early on and guidance to really show you how to achieve these goals along the way, then you may end up leaving that career pathway, either because you choose to, because you just can't prosper in that environment, or it could even be because you have to, because in some situations, it's if you don't get promoted, then you have to leave the university. So you have to make sure that someone is helping you with that. And later on, mentorship is also important in looking at other opportunities, really, that can help your career as well as your interest in medicine. So for example, at big conferences and in meetings, being able to have someone who will suggest you to be a speaker, at a conference, or if there's an opportunity to be on a board or advisory board for different companies or with different researchers. Someone typically has to recommend you for that, and someone who is looking out for you or thinks of you will allow you to have those opportunities. I guess we always have to remember that your job can't take up your entire life, and so it's good to have hobbies, something to help you relax and distract you from the day-to-day that allows you to use your creativity in a different manner. So I like to write. I like to write fiction. I've been working on a novel, which seems like my entire career. My mother always asks me, is she still going to be alive when I finish this book? So hopefully she will be, because I promised her I will finish this year. But yeah, I find it relaxing. It uses a different half of my brain than doing ophthalmology every day. I've been committed to improving diversity within the field of ophthalmology. And along with my good friend, Dr. Mildred Olivier, we co-direct a program called the Rabb-Venable Excellence in Research Program that is named after two prominent African-American ophthalmologists, Dr. Maurice Rabb and Dr. Howard Venable. Both of them were instrumental in their individual institutions in encouraging their students and residents of African descent to pursue excellence as well as academic medicine. What our goal is to really expose younger students to the field of ophthalmology, because underrepresented minorities really are not well represented within the field, and is really less than 2% of practicing ophthalmologists. And much of it is because subspecialty education may not be part of the curriculum early enough in medical school for students who are not knowledgeable about ophthalmology, and they don't have sufficient time to get ready and prepare themselves academically to move forward. So in the Rabb-Venable program, we go to the Student National Medical Association meeting and recruit students and talk to them about who could be interested in ophthalmology and educate them about the field, and invite them to attend the National Medical Association Ophthalmology section meeting to expose them to ophthalmology as well as opportunities in the field. But they also submit research abstracts and have the opportunity to present their original research as a paper or poster presentation at the meeting. The program is supported by a travel grant from the National Eye Institute, and I think we've been pretty successful in terms of recruiting medical students and encouraging interest in the field. And we've been doing this program really for over 10 years. So we're in Washington today for Advocacy Day for the American Academy of Ophthalmology, because really in terms, in order to better serve our patients and the community, we have to get support from our representatives to push forward initiatives that support both the practice of medicine, as well as encourage and support research, and to make sure that our patients have access to medical care. So we talk about different topics such as making sure that the patients themselves have access, because sometimes if there are a lot of barriers in terms of pre-authorizations or medications that aren't covered, it can interfere with your ability to take care of patients. There's also issues in terms of Medicare patients being able to access their doctors for their illnesses, funding for the National Institutes of Health to make sure that scientific research is being done that can further the clinical practice of medicine, as well as increase our knowledge base in terms of mechanism of disease so we can better treat people in the future. So there's really a lot of different issues that can really only be addressed through legislation that enable the practice of medicine. So I'm actually the first doctor in my family, and when I was very young, I think I expressed to my parents that I always loved science and math. Even from the time I was in kindergarten, they would give me these little workbooks, to do little problems, math problems in the summer over, so you wouldn't forget how to read and write by the time you got back to school in the fall. And I actually enjoyed them. They didn't have to make me do them. So I enjoyed, doing those workbooks, particularly things about science and going outdoors and being able to explore the environment and get information about, insects and mechanisms of how insects worked and their anatomy and so forth. And then my grandfather, he would hunt and for our meals and things, because we was down in the country in Georgia. And after he would hunt and we would divide up the prize for dinner, I would take the extra organs and dissect them on the back porch with a pocket knife. And I was maybe 8, 9, 10 years old. And I think at that time they just sort of saw that maybe she'll be a surgeon. She likes to operate on things and cut things open and is curious about what's inside, that maybe that's something that she'd like to do as a career. And that interest was encouraged throughout my life. And even when I tried to change my mind and do something else, my father's like, you told me that you were going to be a doctor, and that is the plan here. So don't think you're going to change your mind after all these years. And I never really changed my mind. And then when I went to college, I went to Duke as an undergrad. I was a chemistry major. And again, I loved chemistry and all the equations and everything. And I just went to Duke as a pre-med. It was a big pre-med school. And then I went to University of Pittsburgh for medical school. And during the course of my education, I really loved neuroscience. And then there are a lot of different fields that one can go into if you like that. I know, of course, there's neurology and neurosurgery, and I was introduced to ophthalmology actually later in my medical school career. And to learn a bit more sort of about neurosciences, there was the opportunity to go to NIH in the summer as part of a summer research fellowship program. And you could select various institutes that might be of interest to you. And so the first summer I was there, I worked in a neurology institute. So it's NIN-CDS. I can't even remember what all the letters stand for at this point. And then the second summer I worked in the National Eye Institute, did corneal wound healing. And I felt like I had found my calling when I did the corneal research at NEI. And after that, I did the ophthalmology rotation, I did research, I applied. I did my residency at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, then my glaucoma fellowship at Yale. Stayed at Yale on the faculty for 10 years. Went to Medical College of Virginia for 2 years, and now I'm at the University of Pennsylvania, where I've been for about 16 years. So it's been quite a journey, but it's been a great one. I think science is very exciting. Science is exciting. Medicine, being able to be in a situation where I can really learn new things every day, it's been such a gift to me. I meet wonderful people, my patients, and just talking to people, whether it be my patients or my colleagues, has really been great, and it keeps me stimulated and motivated on a daily basis to learn as much as I can, to really appreciate life, I think, more on a daily basis. And that young people and students need to understand that all of this really takes hard work, and it takes hours of studying and discipline and planning and a lot of things that are not instantaneous, like is so common now by using a Google search or a cell phone and different things, that it takes hard work and dedication and time commitment, but it's definitely worth it. So go for it.